Krim Productions. Expect the unexpected.
What's up, everybody? This is Antoine Criminal Mosley, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Krim Show right here on iTunes, my Krim Productions fan page on Facebook. How you guys doing? Various apps on iPods, tablets, laptops, and of course, I'm on Spreaker.com, which I am very thankful that Spreaker.com has agreed to put my show on their page, and it has been great to be on there. That way I can get my show to YouTube fans out there. They can listen in. But the real people that I really want to get in touch with is Windows. I want to get in touch with people on the Windows phone because there's an app, there's a podcast program on there, I believe, that a good friend of mine that just brought me up to speed on. And apparently they're showing podcasts on there as well. So I would really like for my show to get on Windows Phone. So if anybody out there wants to hear my show on Windows Phone, I want you to go on Twitter and tweet these guys and say, hey, I would really like to have the Krim Show on your list of podcasts because I'm really intrigued and really interested in the show, and I would really like to see it go far. So if you guys want to go on to Windows Phone on Twitter, search them up, and put in the hashtag Give Krim Show a Shot. Put that in there. So hashtag Give Krim Show a Shot, and put that in there. And make sure that you get those sent out to them right away because I would really love to be on Windows Phone because I'm trying to expand the show. I'm 73 episodes in. You would think I'd be expanding more and more by now, but that's beside the point. But until then, I'm going to keep doing what I do best, and that's have fun. Put my 2 cents in and enjoy the show. So I got a couple things we're going to be talking about today. Obviously, the big thing is March Madness. We're going to get into that later. But right now, I want to talk about these shows that are coming back on TV. And I'm not talking about just any shows. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine that I actually work with. And we're right around the same age group. We're in our 30s. And we're sitting there talking about all these shows that we grew up watching as kids and teenagers and somewhat, young adults that we all watched growing up. And we all wanted them to come back. Well, it turns out that there are a lot of shows, a lot of cartoons that we used to watch back in the day that are actually making a comeback. And for starters, we have the Powerpuff Girls, which are coming back, I think, within the next year or so. Then we heard the news of DuckTales returning, which I think is the best news ever. But recently, we just found out that after 15 years of being off TV or being in a hiatus or whatever the hell you want to call it, Digimon is making its return. Now, Pokemon is still going to this day. I don't know how far they're going to take this thing. Ash is probably still the same age he was when it first started, back at like 95 or something, 94, whatever. But does anybody really remember Digimon? I know a few people out there remember the show, and it was good for its time. But are we really ready for Digimon to make its return like in this era? I don't know. I'm skeptical about it. I want to see where they take it, but let's be real. Digimon might not be as successful as today as it was, back then. I wouldn't even call it a success. It was a semi-successful show that was in battle with Pokemon for, monster battling supremacy. I guess that's how you want to put it. But let's be real. I mean, do we honestly think that Digimon's going to make a comeback in the way that they want it to? I really don't think so. I don't know. It's skeptical. It's a thought and process, but we'll just have to wait and see when it comes out. So when I heard about Digimon coming out or making its return, that got me thinking. What other shows would you guys like to see return that we grew up with, loving and watching, in our time, in our cartoon days, especially the guys that are around my age? And surprisingly enough, everybody always said, like about more than half of the people I asked said the same show. Same exact show. Believe it or not, the show that was favorite that wanted to make a comeback was Hey Arnold. I couldn't agree more. I agree. Hey Arnold was one of those cool shows. That was cool for its time. Had a movie come out. They had their own little project. They had their own little stories. And it was just fun to watch. Now, when Hey Arnold left, people were kind of like, oh, it sucks now. And, Hey Arnold's not on anymore. But you can always catch it late night on, what was it, like Toon Nick? Or something like that, or Teen Nick. They have like the 90s all that. The 90s are all that kind of at night, but you don't want to watch it late at night. I mean, sometimes you do, but you really don't want to see your shows late at night, like at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when everybody should be in bed. I think that Hey Arnold is really top on that list, but there's a lot of other shows that I would love to see come back. Now, stop me if I'm wrong. These shows, once you hear them, especially if you're in my age group that grew up in this era, with all this new generation doesn't know shit about what we used to watch, but they have to like catch up and like, oh, I used to watch that. Yeah, I watched that when I was little. Bullshit. You were born in like 96. Get off it. If you were born after 95, then you just got the butt end of our era. Pretty much. So if you're born in 95, you got pretty much the butt end of what was probably the greatest decade ever. So, what shows do I want to come back? That's simple. Doug. Hands down, Doug. Let's see, Rugrats. Not the grown-up Rugrats. That's what killed it in the first place. Let's keep that part out. Let's see. Rocko's Modern Life. Let's bring that back. That was like one of the rare shows on Nickelodeon. How about Cat Dog? Y'all remember Cat Dog? Yeah, I remember Cat Dog. Let's bring them back. What else was good back in the day? Oh my God, we had what? We had all the cartoons, man. We had let's go to Disney. We had Tailspin. We had freaking, what was it? Oh my God, Darkwing Duck. We had freaking, of course, DuckTales. Of course, that's coming back. We had Gummy Bears. We had all the, man, I could go on and on and on about that. Aladdin. Bonkers. Goof Troop. Gargoyles. Oh my God. Like, how much more can I go? I can go all day on this. But there were so many great shows that we watched back in the day that we would like to have come back. Let's go to Fox. What were the shows that came on Fox Kids? Remember that show, Fox Kids Network? They used to always come home from school, make sure all your homework was done after your shows were over. Let's be real. Come on now. Don't lie. Anybody that was in my age group knows for a fact that when you got home from school, you didn't even begin or even think about doing your homework until the Fox Kids Network was off the air. Be real right now. I know it because I used to do the same damn thing, and it's the truth. It is the truth. So what was on Fox Kids growing up? Tiny Toon Adventures. That was Kids WB. Wow. Kids WB had all the good shows, huh? Fox had what? Like Goosebumps, Bobby's World. Jeez. Man, I'm trying to remember all the stuff they had. Yeah, but Kids WB, I think, was the one that took over. Yeah, it was Kids WB I was thinking about. Yeah. Kids WB had what? What was it? Tiny Toon Adventures. You had, Adventures of the Batman the Animated Series. You had Spider-Man. Okay, Spider-Man was Fox Kids, I think. I keep getting them confused because there were so many good ones. Good grief. You had, what was it? You had Animaniacs. Probably one of my favorite shows of all time. That needs to come back for a couple more episodes. They can still work. Come on. Let's see. What else we have, man? Like, help me out here. There was so many great shows that we used to watch. All the game shows that we watched when we were kids. The number one game show that every kid wanted to be on when they grew up. Which one was it? I'll give you 5 seconds. And no, it was not Legends of the Hidden Temple, even though that was the shit. The number one show that kids wanted to be on when they were growing up on a game show was Nickelodeon Guts. That was the shit. If they brought that back for kids this day and age, oh my God, it would be so much fun. Hell, I would go on record to say I would host Nickelodeon Guts if they gave me a chance. Hell, I would host Nick Arcade if they brought that back. Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring back Nick Arcade for all the old school kids out there, but make an adult version. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still have the same old school games that they had back in the day, but we'd have to sit there and remember it. You know, like Super Ghouls and Ghosts. You had, what was it? Godzilla, All Monsters, King of the Monsters. That's what it was. They had like Kung Fu. They had like, and all these games you could play, and then you go into the game zone. Oh my God. That was like the best. Let's bring that shit back. Now, I'm not going to knock Legends of the Hidden Temple. It was fucking cool, but it kind of scared kids, man, getting on that show. Especially when you had to do the last challenge, and you had guys coming out of nowhere just grabbing you and all that shit. You don't even know if they're like a fucking pedophile or something like that. They enjoy watching the show. Let me stop because I'm going to end up killing that shit. Anyway, all these shows, we all wanted to come back. Now, every channel had their own shows, you know what I'm saying? Every channel had them. But let's go from the cartoons. Let's go to like the live shows that everybody watched growing up. Let's see. Let me think about a few of them. Oh, I don't know. Off the top of my head. Let's see. Dinosaurs. Maybe not live action, but it's close enough. CGI. Let's see. You had Dinosaurs. You had, what was it? The Wonder Years. If you guys like the Wonder Years. I had to sit and watch the Wonder Years before NFL Monday Night Football came on. So I was stuck with it. What else? Jeez, man. So many freaking great shows out there. You had, Boy Meets World. I watched Boy Meets World, okay? Boy Meets World was a shit. I watched Girl Meets World. Shout out to Girl Meets World. Shout out to the Disney Channel for bringing that show back. I love it. It's great. Let's see. You also had what? Family Matters. Woo. Full House. Woo. Perfect Strangers. Y'all know about that. Step by Step. Woo. And of course you had Martin. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Living Single. A different world. Holy cow. All the great shows. Yeah, I can go further than that. Shit, you got Good Times. You got Sanford and Son. You had fucking the Jeffersons. You had What's Happening. You had What's Happening Now. Like, really? I'll take you back further than that. Shit. You had the Three Stooges. You had Laverne and Shirley. You had fucking, Amos and Andrew. You had, Mork and Mindy. See, these shows, some of these shows like in this era that people this day and age would not know about because they don't know what shows we watch. I can sit there and say, hey man, I remember this show Mork and Mindy that I used to watch, and they look at me like, what the hell is Mork and Mindy? And I'm like, how old are you? You're like, I'm about your age, and you don't know what Mork and Mindy is? You need to go back and watch some TV, boy. That's why they made TV Land. TV Land, you had TMC, or TCM, Turner Classic Movie, yeah, TCM. You had, One TV, BET, you had the old school, MTV, MTV2. They'll learn you. They'll bring all them shows back. So you guys can sit there this day, you can sit there and watch those shows and see what we watched growing up. And then you can see, oh wow, man, they had the good shows back then. Why we got these crappy ass shows on TV? Again, I'm going to say it on the record that the 90s was the greatest decade ever. Period. There's no more to say than that. Cause you know why? Because it's the fucking truth. Oh man. Now, before we get into this next topic, which is everybody has been waiting for, I gotta get my Michael Buffer on. So, excuse me for a second. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the month. Now, 68 teams are going to start a journey, but in the end, only one will become champion. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Are you ready? Are you ready? Then, for the thousands listening in, to the millions tuning in all around the world, And for all of you March Madness tournament fans out there, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to bust some brackets! Oh yeah, here we go. Let the March Madness begin. NCAA tournament is underway, and this, as I said before, is my final tournament bracket that I am filling out this year. I've done this for so long, and it's time to hang it up. I've had a blast doing all of these tournament brackets and trying to figure out if I could get the best one out of everybody that I'm up against. Quite frankly, it is a 1 in 9.2 quintillion chance of having a perfect bracket. So I'm going to go ahead on record right now and say that nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to have a perfect bracket this year. I guarantee it. You want to know why? Because I see a lot of upsets already in this tournament. So, for those of you who are wondering who I'm picking in the first round, well, guess what? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to reveal my picks for the first round right here and now, and then I'm going to go back and discuss why I made these picks. Or I can tell everybody why I was correct about the number 1 overall seeded Kentucky Wildcats when I said that they are going to have the toughest road to the championship. I was right from the get-go. And people around me did not even think to give me credit for what I said. I was right. But I'll get into that after my picks. So, let's get right into it. We got Kentucky going up against Hampton, and that's like a scrimmage for Kentucky, so they're going to win that one anyway. But then you have the Cincinnati and Purdue matchup, but I think it's going to be great anyway. I got my bet on Cincinnati. Hometown, baby. We got West Virginia and Buffalo. This is a 5-12 matchup, and a lot of people are getting all nervous about the 5-12 because when it comes to that, there are a lot more upsets in this area of the bracket than any other number in history. But I think West Virginia is going to come out on this one. I'm going to pick them. I got Maryland over Valparaiso. I have Butler over Texas. Notre Dame over Northeastern. Wichita State over Indiana. And, of course, Kansas against New Mexico State. Now, you're all sitting there saying, oh, you picked the top 8 teams in that one right there. Well, it's the obvious choice. The top 8 are usually, the best of the best. So I'm not going to sit there and say, no, fuck that. All right, let's go to the West. We got Wisconsin going against Coastal Carolina. Again, another scrimmage. Now, here's one. I have Oklahoma State beating Oregon. So that's a 9 over an 8 seed. I have Wofford beating Arkansas. There's your 5-12 matchup right there. Wofford is going to beat Arkansas. Mark my words. North Carolina is going to take out Harvard. Harvard better be glad that they made it. I'll give Harvard credit, though. First Ivy League school to make it to 4 straight NCAA tournaments since, the 50s? So you got to give them credit for that, dude. I definitely give them credit for that. But they're going to be short-lived in the tournament when North Carolina beats them. So, moving on. Got Xavier going up against Ole Miss. Ole Miss, who won last night. And Ole Miss is going to get probably stopped by Xavier. There will be no 17-point comeback for you on this one, Ole Miss. Sorry. I got Baylor going up against Georgia State. I love Georgia State. My brother graduated from Georgia State, but I think that's about as far as they're going to go. Baylor is a dominant team right now and more deserving of the nod for the next round. Also, I have Ohio State beating VCU. That's a 10-7 matchup. Ohio State's 10th ranked, VCU's 7th ranked. I think Ohio State has what it takes to win this matchup against VCU. They have the roster, they have the skills, and they have the tenacity to actually pull this off. So I have my nods going to Ohio State. Finally, I have Arizona, who should have been a number 1 seed. They fought for number 1 seed, and they should rightfully be a number 1 seed. They're going up against Texas Southern, so that'll be an easy win for them as well. Let's move over to the East. Yeah, the number 1 seed in the East is one of Dick Vitale's favorite teams to always call about. They're awesome, baby, with a capital A. I love the guys over at Villanova, baby. So Villanova gets number 1. That's my Dick Vitale impression, by the way, so I think that's pretty good. They're going up against Lafayette. That'll be a win for Villanova. LSU is going to take out NC State. I'm telling you guys, mark my words. Here's another 5-12 matchup that I think is going to go to Wyoming's way because they're the 12th ranked. So I think Wyoming's going to upset Northern Iowa. And then, of course, Louisville is going to take out UC Irvine. UC Irvine, I don't know. I mean, I'll give you guys a little bit of credit for making the dance, but you guys are going up against Louisville. And Louisville is the team that's not to be played with. Honestly. Let's give it up for Providence. Providence is going to take out the winner of Boise State and Dayton, which doesn't really matter to me because Providence is going to win. Then I have Oklahoma taking out Albany. Michigan State and Georgia. This is a good matchup. It's a 7-10, and it was probably one of the toughest choices I had to make. Why? Because it's Georgia. And I know how Georgia can get in the tournament. They are a force to be reckoned with. People are always giving them, mixed reviews and mixed remarks and mixed comments about the Georgia Bulldog basketball team, but don't knock them out just yet. However, I can't go against my gut instinct, and I have to pick Michigan State. If there is one team in this entire bracket that needs to be watched carefully, it's Michigan State. But how far will the Spartans get? Maybe not farther than you think. And then, of course, I have Virginia taking out Belmont. Now, Belmont is a 15th seed team this year. But let's not take them lightly. I know I picked Virginia over them. That's fine. But Belmont is that team that's going to give Virginia a run for their money. People don't believe me. Just watch. This ain't going to be a freaking 30-point blowout win for Virginia. It's not. Virginia's a strong team. Don't get me wrong. But Belmont has just enough star power to get the job done. So if somebody's bracket's going to get busted early, it would be Virginia. I'm telling you now. But I'm picking Virginia to win. I have faith in that. And finally, we go to the South, where the top-ranked seed in there is Duke, which I totally disagree with. I do not believe that Duke deserves to be a number 1 seed in this bracket this year. I really think that Arizona should have got that spot, but instead they gave it to freaking Duke. Now, that's just going to boost Duke's ego even more, but I really don't think that Duke is going to do anything about it because they've disappointed so many people in brackets for the past 3 seasons. All 3 seasons, Duke has not even made it to the Sweet 16. What makes you think that Duke is going to do anything better now that they're in number 1? The only thing they guaranteed is a win over the winner of North Florida or Robert Morris. That's pretty much what they guaranteed, a win. Let's see how far Duke gets this year. And I guarantee you the first number 1 seed to fall, I'm going to make that prediction right here and now, will be Duke. Let that sink in for a second. Moving on. San Diego State's going to take out St. John's. We got another 5-12 matchup. Utah and Stephen F. Austin. Do not count Stephen F. Austin out. Do not underestimate Stephen F. Austin. But I picked Utah. Georgetown is going to take out East Washington. That's kind of an easy one. This one was tough for me to pick, though. SMU against UCLA. This was a very tough choice to make. SMU has got one hell of a coach, Larry Brown. Larry Brown don't play. But for some reason, I have a feeling that UCLA is going to pull this one out at the very end. I really believe that they're going to do it. So I have Iowa State over UAB. A 7-10 matchup, Iowa against Davidson. Now, I'm not putting anything over Iowa because, of course, they are a better team than Davidson, but Davidson has been known to make some upsets in the tournament and crush people's dreams like that. So am I going to go with Davidson and pull off the upset? Yeah, goddamn right I am. I'm picking Davidson over Iowa. Mark it. That's going to be a 10-point win. 10 points. And finally, we have Gonzaga against North Dakota State. I think that's North Dakota State. ND State. Not to say ND State. Make it simple. Gonzaga. So, the top 4 teams. We have Duke, Villanova, Wisconsin, and the heavy favorite, which is Kentucky. I guarantee you guys right here and now that the Kentucky Wildcats are going to win the tournament in about, I would say 96% of all of your brackets. 96% of all of your brackets say that Kentucky is going to win it all. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You guys can do that. I'm going to give you some guys some clues and some hints and a brief description why I don't believe Kentucky is going to win it all. Now, remember what I said earlier, that Kentucky was not going to have an easy road to the championship. I was so right. I called it from day one. I told everybody that the selection committee was going to make sure that it screwed Kentucky in more ways than one to get to the championship. You don't believe me? Look at their bracket one more time. Look who Kentucky is put in with. Cincinnati, Purdue, West Virginia, Maryland, Butler, Notre Dame, Wichita State, Indiana, Kansas. Even the analyst on Selection Sunday said, and I quote, they did Kentucky no favors whatsoever when they picked this bracket. Close quote. They gave them no favors. None. They're not just going to hand them the trophy. You got to earn it. You're 34-0, undefeated. All you have to do is win how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 39-0 is within reach. You get a shoe-in game against Hampton. Okay? That's one. But look who's waiting on the bottom half. Butler, Notre Dame, Wichita State, Kansas. Any 4 of these teams can knock them out in the Elite 8. Any 4 can knock them out in the Elite 8. As a matter of fact, any of those 4 teams will knock Kentucky out in the Elite 8. Mark my words. Kentucky is getting as far as the Elite 8, and that's it. You will see a number 1 fall. But Kentucky will not be the first number 1 team to fall. Duke will be the first number 1 team to fall. When was the last time that 4 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four? When was the last time that happened? Ask yourself that. It's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been a very long time. So, let's actually find this out. Okay, Google. When was the last time all 4 number 1 seeded teams made it to the Final Four? Let's see. When was the last time? It doesn't say. It really doesn't say. Hell, Google doesn't even know. Google doesn't even know. So, That tells you something right there, doesn't it? Google doesn't know? Of course, I might have to do my research about that and probably get back to you guys on that. But my decision still stands. I'll get Kentucky as far as the Elite Eight, but that's as far as they get. That's as far as they get. But who's going to take them out in the Elite Eight? Who's going to take them out? You ready for my prediction? You really want to know who's going to take out Kentucky in the Elite Eight? Now listen to everybody. Everybody's quiet. They want to know. Inquiring minds want to know what team can knock out Kentucky. You ready for this? Steve, I know you're listening for this. I know you're listening. I'm about to put the biggest smile on your fucking face right now. The only team that can stop Kentucky in their own region is Notre Dame. I'm calling it now. Notre Dame is going to shock the world. I'm calling it. Mark my words. Notre Dame is the only team in this bracket that has a perfect combination of players, strategies, and plays, as well as defense. They have the best possible chance to beat Kentucky. And you guys are hearing it from me first. If you don't like what I'm saying, then that's too damn bad. All you Kentucky fans out there, if you don't like the fact that I said that Notre Dame is going to be the one to knock you guys off your pedestal and give you that first loss and send you packing, well, tough titty. I call it like I see it. I call it how my gut tells me. And my gut, when I go with my gut, 95% of the time, my gut is right. So you can badmouth me, you can send me all the hate mail you want. Hell, I encourage it. Please do it. Send it my way. Now, I will give you this. I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of respect. Should Kentucky make it to the Final Four, I will tip my hat off to each and every Kentucky fan out there, and I will make it publicly known, not on podcast, but a live video rebuttal. I think that's what it is. Or a live confession. There we go. A live confession. Perfect. If Kentucky makes the Final Four, I will go on camera and I will say what needs to be said. I will give them their just due. I will give them their credit. Plain and simple. But if they don't make it to the Final Four, you won't get anything from me. No sympathy whatsoever. All you will get is a 4-word sentence. And I'm going to put it in bold letters for the world to see. The 4 words will be, I told you so. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. So if Kentucky does not make the Final Four and Notre Dame just happens to be the team that beats them in the Elite Eight, I will say, I told you so, and leave it at that. So, those are your options. Again, I am a man of respect. I am a man of my word. And I am a man that you should trust when it comes to making decisions like this. Now, everybody's going to have their own brackets set up any way that they want, and I'm guaranteeing you right here and now that about 96% of you are going to pick Kentucky to win. That is perfectly fine. It is your bracket. You can make it as much as you see fit. But be careful. You have until Thursday. You have until tomorrow to change your mind. Now, I'm not going to change it for you. I'm just giving you my personal insight. Now, you can take it if you want. Take my advice or not. That's perfectly fine. That's up to you. But mark my words. By the time the Elite Eight is around, all these so-called brackets that everybody just knows to pick. All these so-called brackets that everybody claims that they have the best one and they're not going to lose a single game until at least the Sweet 16. By the time the Elite 8 comes around, I want you to look at your brackets, look at them very closely, and mark and count how many red lines you have for all the wrong choices you made. Then come talk to me. So by this time next week, are we going to be in the Sweet 16? Are we going to be in the Elite 8? We might be in the Elite 8 by then, by next week. Shit's going to go by pretty fast. A lot of games are going to be played. So whatever round we're in, come next week, I'm going to be right here. I'll review the games. I'll review my bracket. I will tell everybody how my bracket is. I'm not going to lie to you. Whether I'm doing good or bad, that's fine. But let's be real. If all of you guys truly believe that Kentucky is going to win the championship this year and go 39-0, unbeaten, then I will give you credit where credit is due. Kentucky, good luck. You are so gonna need it. The entire world is watching you. My final advice to the Kentucky Wildcats is a simple 4-word sentence. Don't fuck this up. I'm just saying. Well, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of the Krim Show. I know I always talk about a lot of other things, but this one I wanted to keep it straight to the point and simple. So to recap, talked about shows that we watched back in the day, some of them that are returning, and it got me thinking the shows that I would like to see come back, just to relive our childhood. That's just the way it is. All these shows I watched growing up, I think it was great. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do with these shows now that they're coming back. Excuse me. Then, of course, we talked about March Madness, which the NCAA tournament is officially underway. We are going to have so much fun during the course of this period between now and the national championship, which is in April something, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, somewhere around there. I think I'm off that day too, so yes, I'll be able to watch the game at home. But until then, I am your humble host, Krim Mosley. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know I said some things that you guys probably did not like. That's okay. I'm all about freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want, however I want, whenever I want, about whoever I want. This is my show. This is what I do. I've been doing it now for almost 1.5 years, almost 2 years. So I must be doing something right. Let the March Madness begin, guys. I'm getting out of here. I will see you next week for hopefully the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 round is going to be taken off, and we're going to have fun with that. Until then, I am getting out of here. Holla at your boy. I am out. The champ is gone. Peace.